Hello children, hope you all are fine and safe. Yes, I'm your English teacher, Radha. In today's class, we're going to talk about The Village Schoolmaster. It is a poem which talks about the village schoolmaster, written by Oliver Goldsmith. Okay? The poem is written by Oliver Goldsmith. So now he was born on 10th November 1728 and he died on 4th April 1774. The Village Schoolmaster is a poem which is written by Oliver Goldsmith. He was born on 10th November 1728 and he died on 4th April 1774. And his father's name was Charles Goldsmith and mother was Anne. He also has done some of the work which we can look at the board and understand. The Travelers in the year 1764, The Stoops to Conquer 1773, and The Deserted Village 1770, Vicar of Wakefield in 1766. These are his works, and this poem, The Village Schoolmaster, is extracted from The Deserted Village. And he also has given a very famous quote. One of his famous quotes is here: "A greatest glory is not in never falling, but it is raising every time we fall." I repeat, one of his famous quotes, that is Oliver Goldsmith's famous quote: "Our greatest glory is not in never falling, but it is raising every time we fall." This is one of a famous quote. Now coming back to the lesson here. In this lesson, we're going to talk about a master who takes care of the village school responsibility, how he works for the students, what he does for the students, how dedicated he is in the village. Okay, now we are going to talk about the poem. Beside yon struggling fence that skirts the way, with blossomed firs unprofitable gay, there is this mansion skilled to rule, the village master taught his little school. A man severe he was and stern to view, I knew him well and every taunt knew. Well had the bonding troubles learnt to trace, the day's disaster in his morning face. Full well they laughed with contrified glee at all his jokes, for many a joke he had. Full well the wheezy whisper, circling around, conveyed the dismal tidings when he frowned. Yet he was kind, or if severe in aught, the love he bore to learning was in fault. The village all declared how much he knew, 'twas certain he could write, and Kaffir too. Lands he could measure, terms and tides passage, and end the story ran that could gag, in arguing too, the person owned his skill. For in thought vanished he could argue still, while words of learnt strength, length, and thundering sound Amazed the gazing rustics ranged around, and still they gazed and still the wonder grew, that one small head could carry all he knew. Yes, children. Now here the poet is very nicely describing about the school headmaster's responsibility, what he does for his school and what he does for his children especially. Yeah. Now let's get into the poem understanding. Beside yon struggling fence that skirts the way, with blossomed firs unprofitable gay. Now here, the school which was situated in a village and it was outskirts, the school was situated in the outskirts of the village, but the school campus was nicely bloomed with nice flowers and the fence was made with the wooden stuff and it was very nicely maintained. There in his mention, skilled to rule, and he was a headmaster, he has to take care of the school. The village master taught his little school. It means he was a teacher and he was teaching in the school for his children. A man severe he was and stern to view. So children, severe and stern, which means strict. He was a very strict headmaster and even his look was very strict. Okay? Severe and stern, the meaning is strict. He was a very strict headmaster and his look was also strict. I knew him well and every taunt knew. It says that we all know the headmasters before. The headmaster who was ruling the school, we knew him. It means that he was an old headmaster. Well had the bonding troubles learnt to trace the day's disaster in his morning phase. The headmaster was so strict. The children were able to understand his personality by looking at him, thinking that, oh, if my headmaster is in a good mood, the day would be fine. But if my headmaster would have, his mind would be upset, it means that we all will be in a very bad situation. It means here, these children have understood the headmaster so nice, so well. It says that our headmaster should be in a good mood. If he is in a good mood, even we will be happy. And of course, if he is in a bad mood, we will be unhappy. The day's disaster in his morning phase, like in the morning, how his face is, the children were able to tell. Full well they laughed with countrified glee at all his jokes, for many a jokes he had. Although the headmaster was very strict, he also looked very strict. He used to crack jokes in his class. He used to make his students feel comfortable with his jokes. And another important thing, even his jokes wouldn't be making them laugh, they also pretend to laugh. Full well the busy whisper circling around conveyed the dismal tightening when he frowned. So here he also used to tell the situation, what happens in the school. Children used to predict, like if the sir is in a bad mood, we will have a bad situation. If he is in a good mood, we all will enjoy the class. And also he used to frown at us, means looking at somebody in an angry way. Yet he was kind. Although my master was strict, he was very kind. Or if severe is taught, to any degree he was to any level he was very kind to us. The love he bore to learning was in fault. The village all declared how much he knew. Here the headmaster, he was a very old person who used to be there in that village for many, many years. And here the villagers wanted to know how intelligent he is, how much knowledge he is carrying. The villagers wanted to know. How certain he could write and care for too. Have, it means a short form of there was. There was certain he could write and care for too. Care for means secret message. Length he could measure, terms and type presage. It means he has the knowledge of everything. As a teacher, he has the knowledge of all the subjects, where the villagers got to know that the headmaster is so clever, so brilliant, that he is known by all the subjects. He knows all the subject information. Length he could measure, terms and type presage. And in the story ran that he could gouge. In arguing too, the person owned his skill. The headmaster was so nice, so knowledgeable. He was also very good in arguing. He was also very good at arguing, and he used to win the argument. He used to win the argument. He was so talented. For e'en through vanished he could argue still, while words of learnt length and thundering sound amazed the gazing rustics ranged around. So here the villagers were so shocked that this teacher is very much talented. Of course, how beautifully he argues. And he has so much of messages to be given. Amazed the gaze, rustics ranged around. Rustics means the villagers were very much shocked, looking at his courage, looking at his knowledge, how much he has. And still they gazed and still their wonder grew. Now here even so many villagers were so shocked, they looked at him. Although his head was small, so much of information he used to carry. That one small head could carry all he knew. Such a small head, so much of information, so much of courage he was. It's brilliant, all the villagers say. I repeat, while words of learnt length and thundering sound amazed the gazing rustics ranged around, and still they gazed and still their wonder grew. That one small head could carry all he knew. Such a small head, but still lot big messages he carries. Now this is what the poet beautifully describes about the village headmaster. Let us take a look again. One of his famous quotes, "Our greatest glory is not in never falling, but it is raising every time we fall." Okay, this is his famous quote, and here coming up to the meaning. Severe, strict and strict. Severe and stern is strict headmaster. He was a strict headmaster. Truant, one who stays away from school without permission. You can tell example, bunking the class. Okay? Truant, one who stays away from school without permission. Bonding, predict. Countrified, pretending joy. pretending joy. Kaffir, secret message. And rustics, it's the villagers. Okay? I hope you are clear with this beautiful poem. Thank you, children.